Welcome to our third annual Juneteenth celebration and flag raising here in Brighton. I am honored to offer reflections and remarks on the holiday. So Juneteenth is more than an observance and celebration of freedom. It's also a time to recognize the historical struggle for equity. Celebrating Juneteenth as a national holiday provides us the opportunity for Americans as a collective to ensure that the history of Black Americans is part of American history. And as such, to never forget that our history shapes our current circumstances. In recent history, there has been a pitched battle over whose narratives would be included in the fabric of the American tapestry. In the typical American origin story, the evolution of our nation is a constant defense of freedom and the rights of all humankind. One of the reasons that there has been a struggle to include the voices of African Americans into that mythical narrative is that we are stark reminders of some of the most inconvenient truths relative to our nation's history. As Frederick Douglass wrote in his 1892 autobiography, quote, "The story of the master never wanted for narrators. The master, to tell their story, had at call all the talent and genius that wealth and influence could command. They have their full day in court. Literature, theology, philosophy, law, and learning have come willingly to their service. And if condemned, they will not have been condemned unheard," unquote. The celebration of Juneteenth, I would argue, has been to tell the story of those enslaved. Juneteenth is an opportunity for African Americans to reflect on our struggle for freedom in this nation, what it has meant, the pain and suffering it has caused, but it is also an opportunity to reflect on hopes and aspirations of what America is and what it could be. And a time to remember that the struggle for freedom is ongoing. Juneteenth has also been referred to as African American Independence Day. In 1852, right here in Rochester, New York, as white Americans celebrated our nation's founding, Frederick Douglass asked us, quote, "What to the American slave is your 4th of July?" Unquote. We often forget, however, that Frederick Douglass's question, it was not rhetoric, right? He answered that question. To a slave, the 4th of July is, quote, "a day that reveals to him more than all other days in the year the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is constant victim. To him, your celebration is a sham. Your boasted liberty, an unholy license. Your national greatness, swelling vanity. Your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless. Your denunciation of tyrants, brass-fronted impudence. Your shouts of liberty and equality, hollow mockery. Your prayers and hymns, your sermons and thanksgivings, with all your religious parade and solemnity, are to him, the slave, mere bombast, fraud, deception, impiety, and hypocrisy. A thin veil to cover up crimes which would disgrace a nation of savages. There is not a nation on earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than are the people of the United States at this very hour. End quote. And I know that's really hard to hear. But from the bitterness of Douglas's reflections of the day, in Juneteenth, we find hope in how far we have come. Juneteenth is ultimately about resilience. As Nicole Hannah-Jones maintains, quote, more than any other group in this country's history, African Americans have served generation after generation in an overlooked but vital role. It is we who have been the perfecters of this democracy. Unquote. So as we celebrate Juneteenth today, and through the observed holiday, let us not forget Nicole Hannah-Jones's exhortations. It is historically inaccurate to reduce the contributions of Black people to the vast material wealth created by our bondage. Black Americans have been and continue to be foundational to the idea of American freedom. On Juneteenth and every other day, let us not forget our individual role in the ongoing struggle to perfect our democracy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Wilt.